And I'm going to do you, and Aries. Let's do Aries next.
The question I have that comes up that I get stuck in, and I've gotten stuck in recently, is there's a place where I see the taking 100% responsibility, and like the benevolent one, and they're like a benevolent aid, and they're putting your life in a certain way to help you work things out, and you know the full volition of things, and like the higher plane and the bigger vision of what's happening. And then there's the place where it's like the raw emotions, and like the anger and the hurt and the fear and the pain, like all of that. And how do you, because what happens is then I go up here and then I deny all of that, and then that does its thing in the background and then comes forward, and I can't stay in the place of actually seeing the bigger picture and like recognizing that like what is actually happening, like the raw emotions that are happening.
Totally. I think that's a brilliant question. And that's what I'm talking about when I say to understand another's reality without abandoning yourself. And both of those parts are absolutely vital. And, I know maybe it's fortunate for you guys. I lean too heavily on the side of understanding and compassion. Rachel H. has this amazing story that she had to quit being a social worker because she began to understand everyone's side of the story as being right, and she just got assigned a mother who had killed her children. And she was just like, I can see how that could be right. And she was like, I think I need to step away for a little while, you know what I mean? And I can see the rightness in everyone's position. And it's great for loving, and it's also beneficial when I see the wrongness. So with Rachel, last night I gave her a spanking. I was like, I said to her, I don't usually get mad at you. And that was, I don't remember, like totally unacceptable or something. Actually with her, I think I just have to say like, and I wasn't happy, and, and like, I know that just, choo! And so there's a way that like, if anybody does anything with me that I don't feel good about, I say it. I don't keep it inside. I don't like try to float away to unconditional love, because the only way you can get there is from snipping. I keep all of it. So one of the things that I see you do is you snip, you go to unconditional love, all of this shit festers, then it comes out and explodes, and then you turn into the persecutor. And so there's a way that you have to stay with you in the process. And so the part of your identity that has to shift in this is the wanting to be liked at all costs. So if you get to the place where you don't want to be liked at all costs, then Rachel can do a Rachel, whatever that is. And by the way, the biggest thing I see between you and Rachel is Rachel sees you as her daughter or whatever. I have this with Rachel. And in that, what happens is she's made terrible mistakes that she doesn't want you to make, so she tries to bludgeon you out of making them. I do the same thing with her. I don't do it as much anymore. But like I just used to be like, don't do that! Pooh! And she would be like, oh, I'm doing it anyway. It's just a thing. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing that happens. But it's just like sort of the thing that happens. But so what has to happen, as far as I can see, on your end for reconciliation, she has her own end on reconciliation, is that part of you. See, like I'm making amends with somebody who is what's that? A blamer, kind of like women are evil is their stance on life, and I'm a woman, and so my entire relationship with them has been to apologize for being a woman, right, in multiple ways, and my amends to them is actually to stand up to them, and not in a mean way, just to say that isn't true. I love you, and that's inaccurate. This is why it's inaccurate. And I did it. And it was such a trip, because he was like, that actually makes sense. Now, mind you, I waited 11 years to say it. And I could have just said it 11 years ago but it took me that long just to be able to say that. Because you have a lot of ideas about being good and being a good woman. And that's what you have to dismantle to find freedom. Good? Anything else over there? I want to make sure you get free here.
It's the place with how to then, because I think I get stuck on actually then how to express it, because I
here's
get
what you
angry
do.
and I.
This is the biggest trick. There's a pause before you get angry. And so here's what you do. You do what's called a first step. So I'm just going to make this up. But so alcoholics, right? They say alcoholics are powerless after the first drink, but they're powerless. But they have power up until the first drink. Does that make sense? If you're in recovery, you have power. You don't have to take that first drink. If you never take that first drink, then you never go on an alcoholic binge again. Okay? So you still believe that you have the power to work shit out inside of yourself, which keeps you looking good and being liked. That's the fantasy. As soon as you let go of that belief and you admit you're going to have to work this out with the person, then you're going to realize you're going to have to do it in real time. Because if you don't do it in real time, then it turns to anger, and it's that much more difficult. Then it turns to resentment, then it's that much more difficult. Then it turns to contempt, and then it's nearly impossible. So like, just the other day, God, I'm so grateful to have Jason just because I have so many stories now. I told the same stories for so many years. But just the other day, I was saying something. I was like passionately making a point to this woman, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like when Jason said he wanted to be non-monogamous, and that was it. He said he wanted to be non-monogamous, and I just stood by what I knew so that he could opt in or opt out. And then he came home, we had sex, he didn't even say it. And then the next morning he texted me and he said, by the way, I promised I would say things to you in real time, because he hadn't been. And we were hitting the contempt point. And I promised you I would say things in real time. And I felt like you were lying to Perry when you said that. And I didn't like it. And I said, and so that I just texted back. No, I wasn't. Actually, I was thinking of the exact moment when we were on the beach and we da-da-da-da-da. And then he said, oh my God, I realized in that moment, I didn't remember that. I got so triggered. My mom did that my whole childhood, and I just stepped into that story. But we hit it as close to real time as we could before it turned into truth. You know, the truth that I am a lying woman, and the truth that he is an unfaithful dude, right? You just want to keep it soft and pliable so you can work with it. Like that's what we did. Like Ray can testify. Like that's what we did with NDI. We just kept everyone like butter, so deeply immersed in their practices that stuff just came out like tiny little splinters coming to the surface rather than any digging. If you do it in real time, that's how it happens. Good? Yeah, you're going to have to change. And that's what we get mad at. We get mad at the fact that we've hit the edge of our bandwidth and we'll have to change if we want to feel free. A new circumstance comes into our reality, and in my world, every circumstance, every person, every face, every argument is God. And so it's just God saying, Nicole, you don't respond to this frequency very well, so I have 3 of them right now, of the exact same dumbass frequency that I love, and I will make it through this one because I'm not going back. Okay?